We're here, to the surprise of me at least. We're recording an episode of this show here at the Casual Hour.
I mean, it's Wednesday. We record shows most Wednesdays.
Most, yes. But last week we had a bit of you had a bit of a tech debt that you inherited.
Technical meltdown, yes.
Yeah. Yep. Nothing like falling into your own pile of shit, huh? But speaking of falling into piles of shit, this is the Casual Hour, and you've fallen into the biggest and smelliest one on the internet. Tonight, you're in luck. It is a deep dive. You have found our second type of monthly episode, right? Yeah. We only have two.
Yeah.
We have this and we have the monthly preview. This, however, is going to be a list episode where Chase and I have each brought a list of 5 arcade cabinets that we're going to talk to each other about and dive into a period of time that I think we both just missed. We got a little bit of it, but we were definitely a little too young for the heyday of it. So it'll be fun to go back and talk about where we did and how we did touch arcade cabinets and what influence they had on us as young green gamers. But we also have been doing some research. You've been researching playing arcade games, Chase. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I can a little bit, sure. Yeah, I was making my list and I wanted to go back and think about some arcade games and help make my list and help remember about stuff. So I ended up playing a few other ones that didn't end up making the list. But I think the one I played most, and I really hope it's not on your list because I just want to talk very briefly about it because I ended up playing more of it. Sunset Riders?
Nope.
Nice. Sunset Riders was always a favorite of mine, and I played a lot of Sunset Riders, and it didn't end up making my actual 5. But man, you know what? Sunset Riders pretty fucking good. That's have
I played that one? I don't know if I've ever played that.
You might not have. I mean, it was a popular cabinet, but I don't know if it showed up in a lot of.
No, sir. That's a negative.
Yeah. That was a really fun one to play with friends and
Western
and have a good time.
Like a Western game?
Yeah, Western. You play as some cowboys, and you just
what color?
It's kind of like a Contra.
Was your character? Were you yellow, blue, green, or red?
I think I was red most of the time. I'm
sure I switched. Dude with the poncho.
Yeah.
Nice.
But just going through, I ended up playing a little bit more of that game, and it just feels good. It also feels good to play some of these games now, and just be able to play a ROM of them and throw in as many credits as you want, and you can get through some of these games now where you couldn't before.
Were you playing on your Pocket?
No, not on the Pocket. The Pocket doesn't really have a good MAME emulator. Although Sunset Riders did come out for the
Super Nintendo, I think.
Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
Maybe the Genesis too. I think I've rented that version and played it a little bit, but the arcade one's the nicer looking one for sure. So
hell yeah. That was an interesting time where you started to get some of those. You've been playing Pokemon, yes?
Pokopia?
No, not Pokemon. I'm sorry, Monster Hunter.
Yes, Monster Hunter. That is a game I've played. Yeah, Monster Hunter. I'm into the second area now. I'm a little bit behind from where you showed me and the audience on the Casual Monday that we did on Monster Hunter Week, as it were. And yeah, that game continues to be interesting to me. I think there's still something about that game being, it's not like the last games weren't open worldy, but this game is definitely leaning more into it being an
Oh
open
yeah,
world
big
and
time.
more of the crafting and more of the traditional Monster Hunter elements that I don't think I am a huge fan of, but I have been enjoying the slightly more mature story that they're telling here. I like the crew of people that are hanging around with you and getting more of a community feel as you're going through that game. And the monsters have been fun. There have been new monsters from that I have not seen as somebody who's only played Monster Hunter Stories 1 and 2. Like that, we fought one in the on the Casual Monday, the water dragon thing that
Yeah,
frilled up like the Jurassic Park guy, the Dilophosaur.
I think it's cool.
So that guy was new to me, and that was kind of fun. The other mechanic that has been a little interesting to me that I did want to talk about is the feral monsters, which is kind of
Yeah, oh yeah,
the story conceit of this game. And the previous Monster Hunter Stories games had,
like
it,
alpha.
it has that kind of rock paper scissors combat style where there's the power attack, technical attack, and speed attack, and one beats the
Hmm.
other. And those games have always had, hey, this monster can switch it up. Like it has like a this is the attack that it defaults to. This is
Yeah.
like a power attack guy. He's going to do more power attacks than most, but
Hmm.
sometimes he'll sneak a speed attack in there just to throw you off. And this game seems to want to codify those a little bit more than previous games, where it'll say like, oh, that monster got angry and it changed up its style, and then you go, oh, okay, so now it went from power to one of the other two, and you'll figure out which one as you fight. And then you can go, okay, now I got to adjust, and now it's doing speed attacks instead of power attacks. But the feral monsters seem to switch it up even more. And one of their extra mechanics is that if you hit them in the right place, which is where they have their feral crystal things, like whatever's making them feral, if you try to hit them there, which you need to hit them there because you need to break those parts to make them less potent. But every time you try to hit one, they get an automatic counterattack on you.
Hmm.
Uh, and it really fucking sucks.
Well,
It
yeah.
especially sucks when your partner or your partner monstie hits those things, because you can't always tell them where to go and what to hit. And sometimes they'll just blindly go, "Oh, I should hit that part." Like, no, you idiot! He's going to murder us all. Why would you
This
do
is
that?
where I think that they further their roots into their core series, because that is an absolute core mechanic of almost every engagement in the mainline Monster Hunters, at least World Plus, where you get into a battle and you get a monster either into like an exhausted or an enraged state, and they completely start to do like the oh my god, I just lost its name, the squirrel that like inflates its neck.
Oh, the Palo Mew or something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
like that is like when it does that in the game, like you're in a really delicate space. It can put you to sleep, which it has moves that go a bit more poison oriented here. And then again, one of the other things, especially with the feral, but as you were calling out with like the lowering the potency of the monster by breaking the parts, if you're on the grind for a particular weapon or armor set, oftentimes it's like, hey, you need an ancient bone and you need this, and you start to research the monster. It's like, okay, if I break the tail or if I break the head, there's
Sure.
a 20% increased chance of it dropping that part in the fight, which is awesome. So I love that they're like still focusing on that loop, but to have the counterattack, it's rough, because even when you would play Monster Hunter with randoms or with other people, it's always like, hey, I'm about to break it. I'm going to do this thing. Like, get ready to do X or Z when that happens, or get ready to throw a flashbang out to blind it so it doesn't do this attack. You don't have a way to kind of prime your partner in this game where it would be cool to go in so you could trigger that, like, hey, I actually want to counterattack because I just called a tank. I want to tank this hit, and then I can, like, I wish that I had that lever to pull, because that's one of the cooler parts about Monster Hunter, especially if you can coordinate with somebody on really just like gaming what it is, because it can fuck you up as it does in this game if you don't have that. If like nobody knows how to counter its enragement or that, those fights go downhill quickly. And I think this game is the most challenging from a combat perspective out of the three of them for sure.
This game does have multiplayer, doesn't it? I know the last game did.
I don't know. That's the thing. Like, I know the last one did, and I would love to play this one. I think that would be fun, like to just go out, especially with it being an open world. It just feels like that would be a better.
Well, and you get a lot more coordination stuff that you're talking about
Mhm.
too. Like if we dropped our partners and I was your partner instead, then we could start figuring out,
Absolutely.
okay, hey, we're both going to attack this thing. I know the second game had like specific dungeons you could go into. You
Yep.
couldn't. I don't think you could just hang around the whole world, but you could.
You can go get eggs and
go
shit.
do a mission and go fight some stuff and get some
Yep.
eggs and come out of that together. And that was a good time,
Mhm.
and it did feel different than playing the main game because you had another person with you and that coordination was there. But yeah, I haven't seen any options so far from this game that makes me think there's a multiplayer mechanic. Maybe there is and it just unlocks later, but I haven't
My
seen it.
my biggest complaint so far, and it's not really even a complaint, it's more of just like the way I'm choosing to play it. I think as you talked about it being very open earlier, there has been some paralysis that comes with that for me, where it's like, cool, all right, I got this one monster now. I'm going to go get all those fucking eggs and get this thing up to an S, and then I'm going to mutate it, and I'm going to build out this ecosystem how I want it. And oh, I want the ultra rare version of this monster.
Yeah.
So I'm not moving the story nearly as quickly as I thought I would have been at this point, because I'm not really that much farther ahead of you, like technically by the story standards, but I've just been, it's a fun world to explore. I think it looks great. I enjoy the traverse in it. I wish you could fly a little bit more than you can rather than gliding. And I'll talk about that in the game I'm going to bring up too. But yeah, I think I'm really enjoying it, but I wish that I could change my brain to just say, just move forward a little bit, go forward and then come back and do this. Cause I'm probably going to replace these monsters with other monsters anyway. So it's like, why the fuck am I doing all this here if I'm only going to get rid of them in the next biome or environment or whatever it is?
Yeah, I'm with you. I've been having the same issue where I really just want to progress the story, but every
Yep.
time I try, I get pulled in a few different
Yep.
directions, seeing a thing that
Ooh,
is
there's a
interesting to
rare
me,
den.
which is like, yeah, that is the open world
Yeah.
pull, right? Like
Yep.
that is the point of a lot of those games. But this isn't a game that I necessarily want to live in.
Yeah.
It's a world I want to visit, and I can't turn my brain off from the MMO style of gameplay that these games are being inspired by, and it just makes it difficult to just jump right in. And I've still also been having a little bit of trouble with the combat stuff,
Same.
just knowing
It's
that
hard.
we talked about this the last time we discussed Monster Hunter, but the idea that you have every fight feels difficult now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has that kind of earthbound style that when you are over leveled for an enemy, you can just hit them and on the uh, over field. That's not what you call it. the
Oh, the overworld.
overworld. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. God, my brain sometimes. Um, but yeah, you can just hit them in the overworld and knock them out and get their stuff, and you get a little XP for it, but you just get the materials just by hitting them, and that's really nice once you are over leveled and can just go through and collect things really quickly. But it makes every fight that is of your level a real fucking grind. Like there's no
Totally.
quick fights in this game. Like every fight feels like it takes 5 to 10 minutes because you have to break apart and you have to coordinate attacks with your partner and switch out your monster and do like switch your weapons and choose these attacks and get your charge up. And it's like fuck every
That's the
single
most
fight.
Monster Hunter part of the game.
And what makes it worse though is that since every fight is longer and more difficult, it makes the fights that are supposed to be long and difficult hard to gauge. There
Mm-hmm.
is you might have run into this problem, but on in that first area,
Mm-hmm.
there's a place like in the what would that be, northeast, where you're like, oh, well, that's another place I can clear out. There's another feral monster there. I guess I'll go fight that one. And you go in, and I didn't realize it right away, but like that's not a monster I can take on right now. That's a monster that they
Right.
want you to come back after you've gained a bunch of levels and have gone to a couple different places, and then you'll get to come back, and then you'll get to go and fight that guy and be leveled for him. But it was a fight that just felt like any other fight, and then I realized halfway through, oh no, this guy just completely outdamages me. There's no way to possibly win this
I
fight right now.
the only positive from what you're describing right now is I think this game is going to have a very good end game loop to it. And I think that that's one of the things that Monster Hunter can get really good at is like, okay, I've beaten the main story. Now the like, the elder dragons and shit are coming into this, and I've already seen one of those when I played the demo. Like that was fucking wild. It was over that island in the water by the castle. Just
Okay.
like
Oh,
up
like where that vortex thing came at
just
night.
up.
I
Yeah.
I didn't even look at that because I
Oh,
figured that was over leveled for me.
oh, it was. I was like, but I want to see what it is. And I got into
Okay.
it and it was beefy. Boy, it was beefy. So anyway, I think that stuff's going to be fun, but I'm with you. It is challenging. And I feel like I am just at the point where it's like, I can't really make level 2 of all my gear yet. I'm still on a lot of level 1 for my weapons. Maybe a few I've gotten to level 2. So that is the risk reward of like, I'll go explore to find the mats that I would need here. And then it's like, oh, I can make short work of this. This is
Yeah.
better. So
God, that UI for making weapons and armor really sucks, doesn't
it's
it?
brutal.
Like
That's
they
Monster Hunter,
even
baby.
put a fucking toggle.
I know.
There's a goddamn toggle in the top corner that goes, "Hey, do you want to just turn on all the stuff you can make?" And I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, that's perfect. That's my
Yep.
problem is that there's so much shit
Too
and I
much.
don't know what I can and can't make. And then
Yep.
I flip that, and it still shows me a bunch of shit I can't make, and I don't know what
I know.
it's doing.
It's a lot, dude. It's Monster Hunter is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
But I am having a good time with it. I'm hoping to get back to it. There was something else that came out that's been occupying a lot of my time, Chase.
Oh, word.
Oh, word. I want to talk to you about a game. I got a lot of things to say. I'm gonna say them quick because we got a bigger show to get to.
Yeah.
I've been excited about Crimson Desert.
I don't know why you've been excited about Crimson Desert.
Oh, come on. You can look at that and say like that's a Bobby ass game. And
that's true.
So much so that I think I've told you this, but I watched the first 2 trailers of that game and I've intentionally gone radio silent. I wanted to get into this game and explore what it is. So if you've been somewhere off the internet, Crimson Desert is the game that came out from Pearl Abyss. It hit last Thursday. It's $60 or $70 depending on the version that you get. And it is in the Black Desert Online universe. This game originally started to be another MMO, but it got flipped into what seemed to be an open world action adventure game. And it's been like the hype for this game is off the charts, or was off the charts. Everybody and their dad was talking about this thing, and it had a numerous amount of pre-orders. The game has come out, and it came out to a pretty polarizing mixed response. It's up to a very positive on Steam at the date of recording, which is the 25th of March. But I think this game, I don't want to say it did like a bait and switch. And I'm here tonight to tell you that like I don't know if I hate this game or if I really like it. Like I really like I tried refunding this game at the 15-hour mark, and then I was just like, I shouldn't have done that. That was a dumb thing. And plus, Steam's like, you fool, you only get 2 hours before you can not refund it. But I think if I was going to summarize like my experience thus far, and this is going to be really harsh, but it's as wide as an ocean, as shallow as a fucking puddle at the end of the day. And it's a game that is almost too big, like in its presentation. Like it's 2 or 3 times bigger than Red Dead Redemption 2's map, which was already unruly. And I think that is a game to point to pretty broadly for this one in comparison. It feels like it lives somewhere between Dragon's Dogma and Red Dead Redemption is what I will tell you. And this game is not it's not an open world RPG. This is not The Witcher. This is not Skyrim. Like, this game is a sandbox action game. Like, there's barely a story here. This is a game all about, like, hey, you see that mountain, you can go to the top of it. And I think in 2026, like, I don't think that's as novel as it once was. It's not enough anymore to carry.
Do you think that has something to do with, like, this studio having worked on MMOs before? Like, that is a genre that is. I'm not saying there's no story to MMOs. There definitely is. There's a lot of it, but even more by multipliers. There is more just doing shit. There's fetch quests and things like that you find all over MMO design. And so if you're a developer who's made MMOs before and now you go, oh, we're gonna make, again, I don't mean to be derogatory here, but a quote unquote real game,
Yeah.
that you still stuffed it with a lot of MMO style, just surface level stuff.
Oh, dude, this is the most MMO gotcha single player game I've ever seen. Like, the only thing
but it's not a gotcha though, right? Like,
it's not a gotcha at all.
Yeah,
There's
which
no
was part, like, the thing that was really exciting to a lot of people from what I heard is that, hey, people like Black Desert Online or whatever, but it has all that kind of shit in it.
Yep.
So hey, they're making a game that doesn't have any of that shit in it. It's similar to how I felt and how some other people felt as well when it came to Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which is, hey, Grand Blue, that's a fucking gotcha game. The characters all look really cool. The story seems kind of interesting, but I don't want to engage with all that gotcha bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw a bunch of money into this video game. And here is a, again, quote unquote, real video game that Platinum Games is helping develop. Like, it's not going to have any of that real money shit that I'm throwing into. I just buy a video game and I play it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it kind of was awesome. So it's interesting to see that this one, it isn't living up to some aspects of what it's supposed to be.
Everybody that's really hot on this game is like, hey, the first 10 hours of this game are terrible and they should redo that to, like, basically get you going. And the problem is that when you have an MMO, the beginning of those games fucking suck. They all suck ass, dude. They're awful. The first beginning portions of an MMO are no fun, but there's usually a community there to kind of Sherpa you and help you and, like, give you some stuff to go through it. And when you have a single player game that still has that early trapping shitty experience isolated to just you and your own, because the game doesn't hold your hand. And some people really like that. There's no yellow paint, all that shit here. Like, that's not a thing. Like, you just go and do it.
That would be a lot of yellow paint if the world is that fucking big.
It looked like Marathon. Another game that came out well before it, but the Kingdoms of Amalur, I believe it was, where that was that was an MMO without it being an MMO. Like, when it came to the questing and, like, what you were doing, all the quests, and the reason I think it's like a gotcha game, those games are dense. There's a lot of systems that you have to know. They feel like you like, oh, cool, I'm going to play my gotcha game tonight. It takes you 35 minutes just to get through every one of the fucking notifications in the menu because they want to get you trapped into all that.
Right.
You've got 20 quests waiting for you. That's like, hey, the sheep's over in the tree. Go find it. Bring it back here. Cool. Hey, I missed my hat. Can you bring me my hat? They're all for nothing. And in a game like this, where you don't level up your character, you are just reinforcing and improving your gear. You're going out getting materials to do that shit. But you might just stumble into something and find, like, an incredible weapon. Like, out wandering around, there's just a fucking skull off the basin of this mountain that's got a huge fucking sword in it. I just by happenstance found. Really cool. Like, that's great. Or, hey, I found this puzzle in this house that I wasn't supposed to be able to get into, but I found an open window and I kind of figured out the puzzle. And now I have these charms that let me do this stuff. Like, all this, like, oh, cool, I just found this thing. It's great. The world is beautiful. It's one of the best looking games I've ever played. It honestly kind of feels like a tech demo with a game attached to it in a lot of sense. But the thing that is really causing me the most frustration with it is It is by far the worst controlling game I've ever played in my life. Like, it feels
That's interesting.
so bad. So here's a great example. The button that you have to use to engage with literally everything. So you've played a game where you go up to an NPC. It's usually like, hey, press B, press Y, whatever it is, and you get a little thing. Anytime you go to engage with anything in your menu, anytime you go to engage with anything in the real world, if you press X on your controller, you jump. But all the button prompts that you see say, press X to talk to this person. Everything in the game besides jump is a long press, like 3 seconds to do anything. So you have to press and hold it. But also, the very first thing they teach you, you're in combat, and the combat is kind of adjacent to like the Arkham fighting in a lot of ways. Like, it lives somewhere between Assassin's Creed and the Batman Arkham games. So it's very action, kind of quick hit, lock, roll around. I'm actually having a lot of fun with the combat. But the thing that sucks beyond that is if you want to talk to an NPC, you just can't walk up to them. You have to hold the left shoulder button. You have to move the joystick to like look at them, and then you have to hold and press one of the buttons. The first move they teach you in combat, like a combo, traditionally in games like this, you'd have a primer button. So you'd pull like left trigger and hit a face button, maybe a shoulder button for an attack. And that's also where the attacks are at on it. But you pull, the first move they teach you is pull the right trigger and the right shoulder button together. That's your first combo move. And I'm like, this feels illegal. Why am I doing this right now? This feels awful. But then they do stuff where it's more like, okay, hold the shoulder button, press X, and that sort of thing. And what's crazy about this game, Chase, is that you've seen it. It's a fantasy game. But what if I told you that all of your movesets was literally just fucking pro wrestling? And so I climbed up this tower from this fucking bowman that kept shooting me. And I didn't mean to do this, but I unlocked, it's literally the RKO. You're familiar with it.
I am. Yes, it comes out of nowhere.
Motherfucker, this came out of absolutely nowhere because I RKO'd this guy so fucking hard that it crumbled the entire watchtower that he was in. And I was like, Jim Ross, that man's dead. Like,
you know, I think I could get behind a wrestling MMO.
And so I walked up to the next guy. He had his back to me. I fucking suplexed him. I did another guy with sweet chin music. And then I stabbed him while he was on the ground. And so I get into this, like, hey, you got to go, like, here's a fetch quest. We need our quarry back. Go to the quarry, run off the bandits. So you think, all right, cool, I'll go fuck these guys up. Chase, what if I told you that you go to the quarry and it's not only this fetch quest and you have the RKO, you've got the sweet chin music, you've got all this shit that you can use. It becomes a fucking Warriors game. It gave me a percentage. It says the quarry is at 100%. I killed one guy. The quarry is at 99.82%. And I look in front of me and I fucking leveled this place. I killed over 1,000 men by myself. And it was enthralling and it was exciting. And then as soon as I got done to pick up the item, I jumped again. I go, you motherfuckers. You absolute motherfuckers.
That does sound just really painful. There's no ability to change controls at all.
No. And also when you started a game like this, there was no storage and it's like there was a chest in your base, but it was only for things you didn't pick up. And so they've already patched that. You can now put things into it. And they have said that they're patching and doing it. There's a mod on PC that allows you to remap controls. I say all this to you. I'm like 18 hours into the game. I think I'm at my breaking point until they fix the controls, that I'm just going to put it to the side. I'm going to go back to playing Monster Hunter. And this is the full circle moment. Monster Hunter is an incredibly dense experience when you play the traditional one. And depending on the weapon you have to charge it up. You have to switch its format. You have to do all these things. You kind of fall into your groove. You find your weapon, you learn how to make the control work for you, and it feels good. Even though it's hard, like everything's natural. I push this button to do this thing and I have it. I just want them to take the Monster Hunter controls. Like, give me those here and I'll be good. So I don't want to tell you I hate this game. I kind of do hate it. But I also kind of like it a whole lot. And so
I'm pretty sure I hate it just from the description you've given me, but I'm glad sometimes you're having fun with it.
I guess I was gonna stream it on Monday, but I was still just like pretty frustrated with it. And as I mentioned, like most people who love it say like get through the 10 hours. And I thought a lot about you with Persona 5, and I was like, Chase hated that thing for like 18 hours. Then he really enjoyed it. Maybe I'm kind of at my Persona 5 moment with it. I know there are things with the mounts. I know that like the mechanics in the game improve. I know that they're working on the controls for it. Like obviously the patch they put out has taken it from like borderline negative mixed up to a very positive. So they're moving quick. I probably will find myself really enjoying it, but I'm having a very, very hard time. But everybody that I know that's playing it in my circle that I've been talking to is like over the moon with it. So I think I'm an outlier. But there's a lot of us. Like I've seen a lot of people who share my sentiment. I just don't know anybody firsthand that feels the way I do outside of you. And you've not played it. So
yeah, I saw Gersman talk a little bit about it, and it seemed like he echoed many of the same issues that you just laid out here.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some very like, it's definitely, here's what I'll say. I love when something like this happens. I love when a game is this divisive because I think it forces a conversation and it forces us to kind of get back to it, because like at the end of the day, no other medium has this problem where it's got all the right things, but something so like the art of playing is what sucks about this game. And it's like the whole reason that this is a game. So, well, I think maybe give me a weekend with it. Let's see if they patch some stuff up. I know that there's a couple cool things coming out in the next few weeks that I'm going to be really excited to show you. So I feel like I need to sneak this thing in and show it to you before it gets too far ahead of us. But that's Crimson Desert. Your mileage will certainly vary. I would also say if you are on the fence, let this thing get a few patches. And I think if they get it in that, like, it'll be better. Like I very famously bounced off The Witcher 3 when it came out. And then I very famously talked about it every episode of the show for a year. So CD Projekt Red did go in and they completely changed the locomotion of Geralt in that. So like, anywho, we got arcade games to talk about. Do you want to tee up how we're going to do this?
Sure. Yeah. Why don't we spend just a couple minutes talking about our experiences with arcades in general?
Sure.
Like you said, we're both just slightly too young. Like I went to some arcades. Most of my arcade experiences were, like going to an actual factual arcade was like in a mall. It was like off the food court or attached to a movie theater or something like that. I've been in one. This is an actual arcade back in the day. Like back in the day, this is made to be an arcade. You come in here and you play arcade games and then you leave. Yep. I've been in that one time. I've been to like barcades and things now, or like a Dave and Buster's, which, those are similar, I guess, but they are very much feel like a sanitized, corporatized thing that doesn't feel like the heyday of arcades.
Yeah.
I just never got that experience. Most of my arcade playing was done at restaurants. These restaurants would have like one machine. The Pizza Hut near where I grew up, my family would go get a pizza, and I would always go with my dad, and I would get to play one arcade game while we waited for the pizza to get here. And then once the pizza was there, we'd pick it up and we'd leave and go home and eat the pizza. And so that's how I ended up playing a lot of arcade games. And well, back to you, like how did you end up playing a lot of arcade games when you were a kid?
Majority of what I would say 80% of my arcade was whatever the Centralia Pizza Hut would put in. They had 2 cabinets, and I can't remember the rotation off the top of my head. Like some would stay for a very long time if they were just like, one of the games I'm going to talk about was there for a bit. But there was one at a mall that I would get to go to, but it was always, my parents hated paying money for arcades. Like they absolutely despised it. It seemed so expensive to them for me to go and just like put that much money into. We have arcades at home. It's called a Nintendo. But much like you, like there would be a steakhouse or a mom and pop with like a bar. and that's like the smoking section of the restaurant. And there would always be like an arcade game in there, which looking back on was probably poor design, but that's where I played. I grew up in a very small town. I grew up very like lower middle class. Like I was lucky to have the gaming consoles at home that I did. I was very privileged to have parents who supported it. But if I was eating for free, that was kind of the deal. Is like I finagled my parents. I was like, hey, if I can get my food paid for, like I know it costs this much money, like would you just give me that for the arcades? Because like I'm buying my own food, and it was the Book It Club. But
Yeah.
anywho, that's where Pizza Hut is where I played most of mine.
It's very funny for you to say the Centralia Pizza Hut, because my Pizza Hut was also in Centralia, but it was Centralia, Missouri, not Centralia,
Yeah.
Illinois. So I also was at a Centralia Pizza Hut playing arcade games, just not the same one.
Yeah, it's the hand meme of like the
yes.
Centralia Pizza Hut.
It's the BioShock meme. There's always a Pizza Hut. There's always a Centralia.
Yes, there's always that's the name of the episode.
Oh man.
All right.
Yeah. So I do feel like I missed out on that arcade atmosphere. It wasn't just, here's a place that your parents would drop you off and you'd be there for, 3 to 5 hours, and you'd have to hang out with those kids and, play games against them, or here's the person who's putting the quarters saying I got next on the fighting game machine. Like that was just never something I really experienced, but I did love going to arcades because or playing arcade games because it was something different than what I had at home. That was always my issue. Every time I played a game in an arcade, I wanted to play something that I didn't already have at home. So when I started to get things like I got Namco Museum for the Game Boy Advance at one point, and then I went, well, there's no reason for me to ever play Miss Pac-Man ever again. I have Miss Pac-Man. I don't need to throw quarters into Miss Pac-Man. I can just play that. I don't need to put quarters into Galaga. I have that. And there are also certain experiences that feel like I want to play that in an arcade versus I want to play that at home.
I think there's also something to be said about craft. And like I remember, and I'll share my story when I talk about the arcade, but there was always that one kid that you just knew, like, hey, if he's at the arcade, you're gonna get your fucking dick kicked in. Like there's always like, and we saw a little bit of this in, like the King of Kong, like the competitive nature of it. But there was always a little bit of like shit talking, pride, ego. There was always a lot of challenge that was going on to it. There was just always like, fuck. Like I remember the movie The Wiz. Not The Wiz, I'm sorry, that's a different movie. The Wizard. Yeah. With Fred Savage.
Very different movie. I don't remember Michael Jackson playing any arcade games in The Wiz, but
they had, that's where I learned how to use the warp whistle. And like that's how you learned how to do shit, like you saw by watching people do shit at the time where it's like, oh, that's how you do that move. Oh, I didn't know that was a thing here. And it was always about like there was a voyeur aspect to it. Like you would be waiting for your pizza, but then it'd be like, I'm gonna eat my pizza over here. And like I remember eating pizza. There'd be some nights that I never touched the cabinet, but I was there. I experienced it. I was part of it. Like I could tell you a memory from it, and it was just the experience of doing these things where it's like it's different than watching a live stream. Like it's different, completely different.
There was just hearing that triggered a memory in my mind. There was a friend's birthday party that was at a restaurant, and a handful of us went over to the arcade cabinet that was there. It was was it just Street Fighter 2? Like some version of Street Fighter 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we're playing that, and none of us are good at it. We're all just smashing buttons. And then one person, I don't think it was me, but like one person did the quarter circle and like made the Hadoken come out.
Yeah.
And everybody went, whoa, what the hell is that? Because all we're doing is just punching and kicking. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
Yeah.
And somebody does that and you go, whoa, that's great. How'd you do that? And he goes, I don't know. And now we're just like doing everything on the controls, thinking, how do you make these things work? And then, somebody gets like Chun-Li's spinning bird kick and like, whoa, and just the discovery that's happening there, the explosion of that stuff is so cool. And I know there were people in arcades and like the heyday of arcades where you'd go to that one guy who knew how to do the fatalities in Mortal Kombat, and he might show you how if you asked him nicely. And that's like a community thing that I never really got to be a part of, but it's something that I feel nostalgic for just the same. Like I think arcades are really cool. I know there's a whole lot of seediness that goes on with it, or that people think about now, and that's one of the reasons they've all gone away or have been ultra sanitized in the way that we talk about Dave and Buster's. Sanitized and also, you know,
Unsanitized.
well, like capitalism has
Oh
snuck in
yeah.
there, a different kind of capitalism than just eat your quarters, but the capitalism that goes, well, now you don't even want to play the video game, you just want the tickets, because the tickets can get you some other plastic
I
bullshit that we
blame
have behind
Charles
the counter.
Entertainment Cheese for that. But
Yeah,
what's
like
your
I remember, like at a Dave and Buster's one time, there's like the machine that it spins lights around, and you just hit the button to make it stop, and if you get it to stop in the right place, it gives you a billion fucking tickets. And I was just playing that, and I remember my dad coming up and going, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm getting tickets." He's so, "But you're here to like play arcade games. Like, why are you playing
Mhm.
this? Like, there's no game here." I was like, it's the one that gives you the most tickets."
It's loot boxes, baby.
Yeah, like,
You're on that.
what am I here playing video games for? Like, I need the tickets. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm here to play video games. The video games are the fun part. Oh boy.
Well, why throw out one of your arcades that you like?
Sure, yeah, we each made a list of 5. I don't know if these are necessarily our 100% favorites. We aren't ranking these exactly, but these are just 5 games that
Yeah,
I
I'm
spent. Yeah, you too. Like,
yeah.
these are just 5 cabinets that I played as a kid to teen and remember extremely fondly,
Yeah.
and just wanted to bring up here.
Yeah.
So my very first one here is X-Men Children of the Atom.
So
This
I
was
have
a
I have an X-Men one as well.
oh yeah,
Yep.
an X-Men fighting game, or oh, you probably have
The beat 'em up.
the 8 player. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Nice. Well, X-Men Children of the Atom is a fighting game made by Capcom. This is, Capcom Street Fighter. They are the kings of fighting games at this time. This game came out in 1994, December of 1994, and the like this is Marvel vs. Capcom is huge, right? Like everybody knows Marvel vs. Capcom, and that became a huge franchise. But that was not the first game that they made. There's a few levels that go down. From Marvel vs. Capcom, there was X-Men versus Street Fighter, and before X-Men Street versus Street Fighter, there was X-Men Children of the Atom, and this was a fighting game that just had, I think like 6 to 8 uh, X-Men characters in it. Wolverine and Cyclops and Psylocke and Iceman, and just a small handful of
Juggernaut was in this
heroes.
one, right?
Juggernaut was the boss. I don't know if you could
Yeah.
play, well, like the sub boss, because then Magneto was the ultimate
Yeah.
boss. But yeah, I don't know if you could play as Juggernaut yet. Like Juggernaut obviously would go on to be in Marvel vs. Capcom, and maybe even X-Men versus Street Fighter 2. And a lot of those same sprites and move sets and things like that would evolve from Children of the Atom into X-Men versus Street Fighter, into Marvel vs. Capcom, and then into Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which is for a lot of people the high watermark of that series. But I remember this one very fondly because it was just a pretty normal 1v1 normal fighting game. You weren't doing tag stuff like you did in Marvel vs. Capcom. You just had a small selection of characters. There were destructible elements on the stages, but the stages themselves, it's not like it mattered too much. It was just kind of visual design stuff that, wow, I smashed that pipe, or now there's a crack on the ground where I threw my opponent there. But it was really just the variety of characters that were in there. I've never been a big superhero guy. I'm not really an X-Men guy, but this game specifically, because of the colorfulness of the characters, was just one that I ended up gravitating to a lot. I didn't even know who Psylocke was, but Psylocke was
Oh
my
yeah.
main character for that game, because she just had a really cool fighting style, and I found it really cool. It was I think if I went back, I'd go, wow, this doesn't feel very good at all. Like it
Well,
feels very
especially in
basic.
fighting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom just got so fast that this game, I'm sure, feels incredibly slow by comparison. But it was one that I had really good memories of playing at the Painted Pony restaurant down at the
Ooh.
Lake of the Ozarks. There was a whole separate place from the restaurant where there was a pool table and then a handful of arcade games. And
Nice.
I spent a number of quarters on that machine in that restaurant.
I for the sake of time for me, I might combine a few of these because they're of a very similar ilk, but like
Sure.
definitely the X-Men.
I'll be quicker on my next one.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I don't mind. Like it honestly kind of rolls then. Like it would be a situation if I went to an arcade, it was usually like one of these two, but the Simpsons arcade and the X-Men arcade, like those two beat 'em ups really, like when you first said arcade to me, those are the two that popped in my mind the first. Like if I had to tell you like a favorite of mine, I probably would say like the X-Men cabinet is what I've probably put the most quarters into in my life. But I was also like very into X-Men, the animated series when I was younger. So it felt like I was playing this show I liked. I loved that it had all those awesome costumes. I think Marge having a vacuum cleaner was so fucking dumb and stupid and silly, but it worked great in the game. I loved seeing Springfield in that. I loved playing with like random people. Like it was always just like, hey, do you care if I throw a quarter in? Like, no, I could use some help. Oh yeah, I've beaten this boss. I'll hop in with you. Cool. And like you end up talking to people and seeing some of the combos and moves that they would do. The other one I'll throw in on this, because again, it's very similar. And this was at my Pizza Hut for a long time. I ended up playing this on my Super Nintendo, probably more. I love Knights of the Round. I adore Knights of the Round. I think that's such a cool game. I loved watching the armor progress on your character from like you start kind of looking like a peasant, and by the end of your run, you're wearing like gold clad armor, just huge, monstrous armor. I thought that was so cool. So like the beat 'em up arcades, I have like three there that stand out pretty broadly to me, which would be Knights of the Round, X-Men, and certainly the Simpsons when it comes to beat 'em up.
Yeah, I also like that. Those do feel like the most classic arcade games to me. Well, like those and fighting games, they feel like they kind of go hand in hand. It's like this is the arcade experience that you just don't get when you're at home. And for me, yes, I certainly played Simpsons, and I played Turtles in Time, and or not Turtles in Time, the Turtles the arcade game. Turtles in Time came later. I didn't play as much of that one, but playing some of those beat 'em ups was really cool. They two like one of them is on my list and one of them's not, but the two that I ended up playing the most from a beat 'em up perspective was Alien versus Predator, which there was a really good video. I think it was by Nerdstalgic that just came out pretty recently that was talking about the Alien versus Predator arcade game, because it's got a weird history to it, and it's also one that's never been re-released because it's so difficult for the licensing to make that happen. But that was a game that I played a lot and had a really good time with. But my favorite beat 'em up is one that I definitely played at my Centralia Pizza Hut. And we've talked about this game before. I was like a game that I had to rediscover, and then found out it was just on the Switch eShop at some point, and that is Spin Master from Data East. This is some people might know this as the yo-yo game, where it's got these big colorful sprites, and they took your girlfriend or whatever, and you two. It's kind of like a Double Dragon feeling premise to it, at least. But then you get in there, and you start out with these yo-yos, and you're just bashing enemies as they come from either side of the screen. But then you'll quickly get lots of different power-ups that honestly all kind of just do the same thing. The yo-yo has a limited range, so you okay, that I can understand that these are upgrades. Like getting the ice power is an upgrade, but the ice power isn't really any stronger or different than the bomb power, which is not any real different than the fire power. The only one that actually feels really different is they call it double, but it's like shurikens. So you throw shurikens both in front of you and at a higher angle, so you get twice the shots out of that. So you either get double and do better, or you get all these other powers and feel like I don't know, none of them matter. But it was really cool because you kept getting new powers so quickly, and that game took you from place to place to place. It was like a real journey of going through that game, and it was really cool to rediscover that game after decades of forgetting it and not remember the name and not knowing even how to search for it. I just would keep putting yo-yo game into Google, and I would get nothing. Or they would throw like Rygar at me, like that's the one where you kind of yo-yo, and it's like, it's not Rygar. I promise you, it's not Rygar. And then discovering it was Spin Master and that it was available on the Switch, and then I immediately played through it when I saw that. Yeah, Spin Master is one of my favorites. I threw. And you have that on the Switch now,
right?
Do what?
You got I think we did a quick look of that.
We might have. Yeah, I think we did.
I'm almost positive we
Yeah,
did.
I think it's still on my Switch right now. The ROM is very small, so I could go play that tonight if I wanted to. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Spinmaster, one of my favorites from Data East.
One of
Nice.
the
That was from 1993.
okay. This is a mouthful, Chase. Jurassic Park moving theater 2-person ride game is one of my absolute favorite arcades.
Sure.
And I had the exact opposite experience that you did with the lights that you were trying to line up and win big tickets. I played this at a Charles Entertainment cheese establishment in Fairview Heights, Illinois. And my mom was livid because she wanted me to get tickets because we were at Chuck E. Cheese to get tickets.
Sure.
And I wanted to ride in the back of what was a Ford Explorer seat that had the ability to shoot fucking guns at dinosaurs as the seat was vibrating and moving as I was running away.
What more could you ask for?
I mean, it was a sight to be seen. And that was like probably my favorite immersive arcade cabinet. And there's a ton of them. You know, you could do San Francisco Rush, you could do, any of the shooters, of course, with light guns and stuff of that nature. But this felt cool. I was in a car. It was Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park, I don't know if you know this, Chase, was a big deal when it came out.
Yeah, I was slightly familiar with it.
But it was always fun because, I was a flirt. And if I was driving the car, I was like, I got room for one more if anybody wants to ride along. And because it would move around and people were like, there would always be somebody who would come and sit and do that, even if they didn't have the coins. And it was expensive. I think that was like a 75 cent to $1 play. Also.
Yeah, I never actually got to play that one. I played the Lost World one, which and I think they made different variations of them too that were more expensive or less expensive. But the one I played was like it was like a photo booth you went into. It had curtains. And so you'd get in there, and that felt cool because like it was dark and interesting there. But it still like tried to feel like a Jeep, but it was just like a hard plastic bench, and it was. It was certainly not the same experience that you're talking about, but I also had some pretty fond memories of shooting some dinosaurs in the photo booth.
So yeah, Jurassic Park. Let me make sure I got this right. Jurassic Park moving theater 2-person ride game is what I'm talking about.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
I really hope there's a game that didn't make my list, and I part of it was like I bet that'll make Bobby's list, and I'm hoping it'll make your list so we can talk about it later. But
I will tell you, I have one more game. I've given you 4.
All right.
My last game is a fighting game. So do with that what you will.
Well, then we'll have to talk about this other one separately. My next one is NFL Blitz 99.
Hell yeah.
I guess 99 specifically. There are a couple different NFL Blitz games out there, but I think 99 is the one that I played at an old Chicago in Columbia, Missouri. All right. Good solid pizza, good wings, but that was a place where I played a lot of NFL Blitz. I don't even really like the NFL. I don't give a shit about football games generally. But this NFL Blitz fucking rules. Like it is.
That was my favorite Dreamcast game.
It is fast. It's intense. It's 1st and 30. Like you don't even do 1st and 10. No. We're gonna triple that shit. If you are even in the vicinity of a player, you can just go and grab him and throw him not only to the ground. You can throw him like 30 feet away. You can jump on people after the play is over, and the announcer goes, "Whoa, that was an illegal hit." But they don't give you a penalty for it. So you just keep doing it. It's awesome. It is some of the best football I have ever experienced. I would always end up picking the Broncos because, again, I didn't know shit about football.
Sure.
But I knew that John Elway was a name that I'd heard before. He must be a pretty good quarterback, right? So I'd always pick the Broncos because they had John Elway. I would always go for Da Bomb as my play, which I'm sure was not a very smart strategy. But I would just keep going back with Elway, just back until somebody was open, and then I would fucking bomb it. And that's the only way I would play that game. I was not good. I never went for extra points. I would always go for 2. I would never go for field goals. I would always just smash myself in. And I was a pretty young kid at the time, you might imagine, based on this style of play for football. But God, NFL Blitz was so good. I never actually played it on the N64 or anywhere else. It was really just that
I played it.
arcade version.
I played NFL Blitz 2000 on my Dreamcast. That's where I played the most of that. I think. I'm pretty sure.
Such a great game.
Yeah, man.
And it's really sad that they have not been able to find a way to bring it back exactly. I know there was like Blitz the League, which took off the NFL stuff and tried to tell a grittier story, and that didn't work. We've had NFL Street that kind of tried to be similar, but it wasn't quite the same. And now we're just going, fuck it. They'll just play Madden, and then somebody else will come around and go, oh, we tried to revive Mutant League Football or something. And I just want NFL Blitz, and they won't give it to me.
Give me NFL Blitz, y'all. Why
do you want me to go again since you only have one left?
Yeah, go again.
All right. Let's go for the oldest game that that we've talked about at all here. There's a lot of good classic arcade games. You know, I mentioned Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, Frogger was always a big favorite of mine. But the one that I would go to the most, this is my old school pick, and it's Dig Dug. Dig Dug, so man. Good. Number one. It's so fun. The thing I like about Dig Dug is it's so much more relaxed than most of the other arcade games. You know, Miss Pac-Man, the music is not music exactly, but the chomping the bits is just like this constant noise that's happening. The ghosts are always on your ass, and everything feels so constrained. And even though Dig Dug is the whole idea that you're digging underground and it feels very claustrophobic, the way that they presented it to you on the display made it feel like this really big open field. And when you first start playing that, there's only like 2 or 3 enemies on the screen, and it's really easy to just hit them with your air like into your air pump. And once they're in that like halfway blown up state, you can just walk right by them. But it just is a game that feels really easy to kite the enemies around in and just try to build up combos. It's a game that just felt so free, and I always felt like I could put a quarter into Dig Dug and be there for a while. Like it was the best bang for my buck versus playing Galaga, losing 3 ships pretty quickly and going, oh fuck, I guess I need another quarter. But Dig Dug is like, I put in 1 quarter and I'm going to be here for like 10 minutes as I play this game. And, I'm not going to get super far into it, but I still get a good chunk of video game out of this one. And it was always
Dig Dug's
a favorite of mine. I like the music. I like the character designs. I like the little idiosyncrasies that would be there. Like when you would dig right next to the last row that you dug, but it would still show you like a little strip that this is not there's a wall here, and some of the enemies like none of the enemies could go through that wall unless they were using their specific power to go through walls. So like that was a barrier for you, but also the little dragon guy could shoot fire through that, and you could also shoot your air pump through that. So it was a way of being really safe and attacking the enemies, but also one specific kind of enemy could get through. Like just the little idiosyncrasies of that game is something I think about quite a bit. Dig Dug was awesome.
Agreed. I played it off of a CD-ROM arcade collection on my computer growing up at home. My last one here is Mortal Kombat. This is probably like the most vivid memory I have of an arcade experience. I think I've told this story on the show before, but I'll repeat it here. I had never seen this cabinet before. It had the side with Raiden on it, and the other side had Johnny Cage. And I remember seeing the Raiden one, being like, "God, that looks fucking cool." And I remember there was a definitely like late grade schooler, early high schooler that was on the cabinet at our Pizza Hut. And my mom never really paid attention to what the games were. She just knew it was an arcade, like a video game, so it was safe. She gave me the quarters to go up there. I put them in. I grabbed Scorpion, and he had Johnny Cage. And the dude knew every fucking move. Like he mopped the floor, and he did Johnny Cage's fatality on me. And like after he beat me, like I'd never seen that where it just stopped and it's like fatality. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Video games are allowed to do this?
And like I remember, like I seriously, Chase, I'm not joking. Like I kind of was just like, oh, I like stepped back from the machine, and like I'm looking at it like very pensively, and he uppercuts my head off of my body, and
Sure.
I I literally just like I was like shaking. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? And I left and I sat down and my mom's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, nothing. I just don't feel good. And she's like, did something happen? I'm like, no, I just don't feel good. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I want to eat my pizza. And I remember like, I couldn't even look at the arcade cabinet for a minute. I was just like, what the fuck was that? I probably said like, what the flip, you know? And anywho,
Yeah.
when that game came out for Super Nintendo, I told myself that I was going to get so good that I would find that kid at the Pizza Hut again and I would fucking destroy him. And I
Yeah,
became
turn the tables.
I became
Shook
a
him.
menace. I was a menace with Scorpion, and I never met him again. And I hope he's getting restless sleep wherever he's at, for what he did to me. Yeah.
That's so good. Well, my last game is Ironman Stewart's Super Off Road.
Fuck
Did you ever play this
yes.
one, Bobby?
Yes.
Yeah. This is my favorite racing game by a mile. Most racing games will like put you in a seat or like Hydro Thunder or something like that, or Arctic Thunder, where you'd actually like, be on like a jet ski or a snowmobile. This one, no, fuck you. It's a stand-up machine, but it had a little pedal, or it had three little pedals because you could play three players
Yeah.
at a time. Red, blue, and yellow. And it had little pedals on the bottom of the machine where you would use for your acceleration. And then it had a wheel, like just a normal looking steering wheel, but it had no resistance to it. Zero
No.
resistance. You could spin that like it was on a fucking ship, and it was beautiful. And the game allowed for that too. Like it had this kind of bird's eye view or isometric bird's eye view of the track, of the entire track. So it was kind of like a micro machines thing. Like it felt like a tiny little world in there. And you could take some tight turns because you would just spin the shit out of that wheel, and then you'd
Oh my
grab it,
God.
and it was felt so good. You couldn't really do drifts exactly, but you could grab these nitros and take jumps, and it was kind of like the first car PG that I played, where as you won races, you'd get money, and then you could spend that money to upgrade your tires that made your turns quicker, or you could upgrade your acceleration or your top speed or the number of nitros that you had. It was awesome. It was just the best racing
It
experience
looks
I'd
great.
had.
It's an awesome looking machine. The music, the sounds, the whole thing. Like it's a great game. It's a great game.
It's really good. Like the only game that's come close to it for me has been Rock and Roll Racing, which has a very similar feel to it. Like that Rock and Roll Racing is much more like it's zoomed in on what you're doing. Like you don't get to see the full track like you do in Super Off Road, but it has that, hey, as you win, you gain money, you put it into those similar kinds of stats, and you buy new cars and things like that.
For sure.
And they feel like there's a lot of connective tissue. I'm sure the people at Blizzard played Super Off Road before they made Rock and Roll Racing, but that is a game I just fondly remember. It felt like no other racing game I ever played. I played it at Time Out, the restaurant at the Lake of the Ozarks. So we'd watch the sports that were on the big TVs, and then I'd go and play a little Super Off Road, or maybe like one game of Samurai Showdown. There was like one Samurai Showdown cabinet that I would play a little bit, or like Pop a Shot. But it's like, no, I need to go back to Super Off Road. That's the one I want. Bobby, I know it's time to end the show, but I have one other arcade game that I feel like we cannot not talk about.
Okay.
And it's one I'm kind of shocked that wasn't on your list.
Okay.
You did play Star Wars Arcade, right? Like Star Wars the arcade game.
No.
Oh my God, Bobby! This was at my.
I never had it. I never had it where we were at, man.
So there are lots of Star Wars arcade games, but the Star Wars Trilogy arcade is the one I'm specifically talking about, and it would have one mission per movie. So you'd have the Death Star from Episode 4. Then you would have Hoth from episode 5,
Fuck
and
yeah.
then you would have the speeder bike scene from episode 6, and to finish that out. And then once you finished all 3 of those, and they all controlled very similarly, you're basically in a ship every time.
Sure.
Even the speeder bike felt like a ship when you were using the same kind of controls for it. And then after that, or actually in the middle, you'd fight Boba Fett at one point
Okay.
as Luke Skywalker, and that was always weird because your controls are still like ship controls, but now you're like a first-person Luke Skywalker holding a lightsaber, and you would have to move your lightsaber to deflect his blaster bolts and knock him into the
Fuck
Sarlacc
yeah.
pit. And then after you finish all of those missions from each of the movies and the Boba Fett thing, then you would have to face. Then you have to go back and do oh, wait, yeah, you'd have to go back and no. You'd fight Vader, right? You'd fight Vader next, and Vader would have the same thing as Boba Fett, where you just have to move the stick, but Vader had better moves, so you'd have to like move
I
and
would
then
hope
move
so.
again.
I would hope so.
You couldn't just deflect damage. You had to block him and put him in like a stun, and then you'd have to do like an up down motion and do like a big slash that would take his HP
Got it.
down. And then once you did that, you had one final trench run or not the trench run exactly. Trench run's from 4, but you'd have to go and destroy the starting to be rebuilt Death Star and finish the job. So you had these kind of 6 missions that you would do, but you'd also kind of be in a seat like it was like the Jurassic Park.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen the machine like online. I just never played it.
It's such a cool machine. It looks awesome. I would encourage you, Bobby. I think you'd enjoy this a lot, to just go on YouTube and type in Star Wars Trilogy Arcade. And like I did this recently and just watch somebody's long play where they just play through it.
All right.
It is really cool. It is one of the best Star Wars games that I have played. It's one that like makes you feel like you're in there. And I know we've had like newer versions. Dave and Buster's has, I forgot what it's called, but like I played it at Dave and Buster's, God, like maybe a decade ago at this point. But they did like a new version of the trilogy where you can play. You go into like an actual booth and play it, and it was really cool. I forgot what it's called, but there is something about those old graphics that just looks so much better. Like there's no way you could make a better, cooler looking game than Star Wars Arcade Trilogy.
That's awesome. This was fun. I'm glad we did this. Arcades are something that I have this guy right here. I keep him up on my shelf, but this is a Lego set that I don't talk about too much, but I have this little guy that opens up into a little diorama set. And then I've got the Pac-Man Lego machine over there. I know that you have a Miss Pac-Man proper, like bar version.
Well,
right?
It's got
cocktail.
I would not call it proper. It is somebody has rigged up a main machine in there, so it's actually able to play a lot of different ones. But it is in like a Miss Pac-Man cocktail cabinet looking thing.
Fair.
Right now, it's got a bunch of plants on top of it, so it doesn't get much use. But
it
does look fucking cool. That is for sure.
But it's nice to talk about these. I just have like, I'm from a generation that appreciates what arcade symbolized. It was a place to go and feel like you belonged, especially like, whether it be a Pizza Hut. And it was always something I look forward to. It was something that my parents got a reprieve from. So it's cool to hear that we had very similar experiences with it. Very different games that stuck out to us though. And we've played a few beat 'em ups on the show. There's a couple I'm playing right now that I'll talk about next week. Beat 'em ups are coming back right now, so maybe I'll fire up the X-Men arcade or do that, or maybe I'll show that to Scott Pilgrim. But Chase, you've been a very busy bee outside of the show. What do you got going on? Or don't you have
I've got a few things going on. I've got the Pilot Program, which is the podcast I do with my good friend Pierce Gorshane, where we watch the first episodes of every television show ever made. Our newest episode on The Muppet Show is out now, so go check that out. And then I think once Pierce gets back from PAX and gets settled back in, I think we're going to be watching The Pit, HBO show.
One of my favorites.
So, I'm very squeamish, so I'm not necessarily looking forward to it, but I bet we'll have a good time with it nonetheless. So go check that out. pilot program's been fun. We're almost to episode 50, so that's exciting things. I also got a YouTube channel, Chasing K Plays. I took this week off because I had some other stuff going on, NCAA basketball stuff's happening, just lots of business right now. So I ended up taking a week off, but I am playing Star Wars: Knights of the Republic there in a series called Go Play a Star Wars, and we're getting nearer to the end game, and I think hopefully we should be able to wrap that up in the next few weeks, probably. So that's been a good time. And then through no fault of my own, I have become the most minor of minor Magic the Gathering YouTube celebrities. I had one video blow up much more than I expected it to, and now people are starting to watch that channel, my Common Knowledge MTG channel, where, you know, again, very minor. I have 100 subscribers. I'm not acting like that's big, but it was like 10, and now it's a lot more than that. I went, oh shit, uh-oh. So that's fun. If you want to watch me talk about common Magic the Gathering cards and lots of different kinds of videos, you can go check that out and be one of the, I think it's currently 116 people who decide to watch me do that. You don't have to do that. It's fine. I don't necessarily want to become a YouTube celebrity. I was just doing it to look at cool cards. So watch or don't watch, I don't care.
Well, we've also had a lot of fun this week. We played Slay the Spire 2 on Monday night. That game is very cool, and it's more Slay the Spire, so if you like that, go check it out, see what we did. We were playing as what character were we playing as? I can't remember.
We played as the Silent.
The Silent, thank you. We played as a Silent and got pretty far in that run. So go check that out. And again, we had our deep dive tonight. We are going to be back next week, which I believe is a preview episode, if you can stomach that, for April, which is hard to believe. And we'll find a video game to play with you on Monday night. So lots of good stuff between Chase and I that you can find in and outside of the casual hour. We will be back